Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Now, you were no doubt aware of reality TV. I mean, it's all over the place. The Kardashians, 90 Day Fiancé, Survivor. You know, the original really reality show was The Real World on MTV, and it's amazing, you know, what you do. Survivor is the ultimate social experiment, as Jeff Probst said many, many years ago, and Survivor is still going strong, The Amazing Race. And reality shows are rather cheap to produce, and they take people and put their lives in front of the camera. But the problem with reality shows is they're not reality. You know, it's how they view and how they edit the show. And it's one of the things that's really bugging me because, well, my fiance has gotten hooked on Welcome to Plathville. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, it is a show that deals with a family in Cairo, Georgia, which is not too far away from us. And they basically have, you know, just no access, no TV, no electronics whatsoever. The kids are homeschooled, and it's a large family. But the problem is the show is unrealistic in how they go about their daily lives. And this is why I say this, because if you watch the show, you know they do one-on-one interviews at key points to emphasize certain aspects of the filming or the season or whatever. And they also cut it to make it seem more realistic. But the funny part is that some of these interviews are recorded after. You can see the hair and makeup done, and it's different than when they recorded. And this goes on, and in some ways, it's a farce because the producers decide, okay, this is the storyline we're going to follow. Now, for those of you who don't know, and you may have seen some stuff because Plathville and the Plaths have been mentioned in People Magazine and Us Magazine, that kind of thing, and on the line too. The husband, Barry, and the wife are getting a divorce. Now, this is a devoutly religious family. They don't celebrate Christmas and give gifts. They celebrate Christmas, you know, as the birth of Christ. And, you know, they don't celebrate, they celebrate birthdays, but, you know, the Christmas thing is the one that really kind of, you know, emphasized because Barry and Kim, the husband and wife, are getting a divorce. And we're dealing with the mom having moved out of the house, and the dad is basically taking care. There are a number of younger kids, and you don't really see the younger kids in this show. The show is basically centered around Barry and Kim, and then their oldest sons and daughters. And they basically show them, you know, and the younger kids are shown at family occasions, but that's all. And I should also mention that they've gone through a few things in life. They had a child die. I think there was an accident, as I recall reading, with the mom, and the kid ran behind the car and was struck and killed. And that brought some, angst to the family. But this show is about, it's kind of like the Amish people going out into the world. The oldest son is Ethan, and he got married young, I should say. And the trials and tribulations and the tough times he has been going through with his wife, Olivia. I mean, this has been, Olivia could not do any wrong in Barry and Kim's eyes. And it has caused a huge issue. And again, that's where a lot of the storyline goes. But here's where I'm going with this. If you follow the show and follow the reality of this, you have to question some of the decisions that are being made by Kim. And you have to question some of the decisions by the producers because it almost seems as if they create these storylines. And again, it's a reality show. Does it have a hook? Yeah, it does, I guess. You know, I mean, we watch it. But it was in the news recently. And again, living in Georgia, we get, you know, news that you may not be national news, but Kim was arrested for DWI. And one of the things about her life is she and Barry were kind of party animals, and they gave all that up when they had kids. And she's now got a boyfriend, and they're talking about dealing with a boyfriend. Now, having gone through a divorce, The one thing they say, and I went through this divorce care, is don't date anybody for a while. You've got to give yourself some space. She's not doing that. And the kids aren't liking this because it's basically the opposite of what they have been taught by both of them. And that's what you're dealing with. And now you're seeing more marital strife with Ethan and Olivia because of the fact that Ethan wants to have a relationship with his family and Olivia wants nothing to do with him because they've kind of stabbed her. I mean, you got to watch the show to kind of find out a little bit more about this. But the problem I have with the show is it's not really reality. It's what the producers want to make of it. I understand you've got to have something that is going to be interesting. But when you tease at the beginning of the show, Kim talking to a friend about dating, and that goes on for 4 or 5 times. And then finally you get to it at the end. She says, well, I'm going to date somebody, and it's somebody who's connected. That's ridiculous. And it either shows me there's not a whole heck of a lot to work with, or they're struggling to put storylines together. And it almost seems as if they are trying to create storylines or make more out of it than there is. Now, it wouldn't be the first time that a reality show kind of lied about things. And people's portrayal, that's been a problem with Survivor. Some people in Survivor have said, I was portrayed kind of funny, and The Amazing Race, same thing too. I remember there was a married couple there who was he was portrayed as the devil almost. And afterwards they said, that's how we are, and we've been this way for a while. And it just, they disagreed with how they were portrayed on the show. But then again, it's reality. You're getting paid a certain amount of money, and that's what you got to do. And I really question, reality TV, cheap to produce. You don't have to pay people, and here's your chance to stardom. They get a chance to be a star. And I mean, it's worked out. I mean, some of the 90 Day Fiance people have their own TV shows. And then there is a radio personality from Charlotte who has her own show, My Fat Fabulous Life, and it deals with her trying to deal with life. And, she's a rather overweight person, and, she was in radio, and now she's trying to do exercise videos. And I watched that. It's mind-numbing. It really is mind-numbing. It is reality TV. The sad reality, though, is this year with the actor strike and the writer's strike, that's the only new stuff that's on television, really, unless it was produced before the strike. That's the only thing you're seeing new. And it's a shame. The one thing about TV, though, that is a saving grace. Well, number one, the morning show is coming to an end for this season. Sad. It took a while to get it on. And For All Mankind is going to pick up in the next couple of weeks. And if you have Apple TV Plus, I wholly recommend For All Mankind. Really, really good show to watch. And the sad reality is that what TV do we watch now? Well, we're basically watching old Blue Bloods and Young Sheldon, because I never watched the show Young Sheldon, and Sandy said, I don't remember a lot of this stuff. And so we're watching it, and I'm learning about the show, and I'm learning about Sheldon, the characters, and how they did this, but that's what we're watching on TV. And of course, the greatest reality show is the NFL, and the NFL TV ratings are very high right now because it's the only new game in town. Or sports ratings are very high because it's the only game in town. Well, maybe the reality is we need more reality TV. I don't know. That is Tripp's Take for November the 9th, 2023. I'd love to hear your comments and questions about my podcast. Just email trippstake@gmail.com. Fantasy football players, we're heading into the home stretch. The Hall of Famer Mike Sheck and I will give you all kinds of fantasy advice. It's the Fantasy Sultans. You can find it on Spotify for podcasters. Also on YouTube, just search Fantasy Sultans. You can also find Tripp's Take on YouTube. Just search for Tripp's Take. If you like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, hey, give a listen to my internet radio station, WTRSradio.com. Join me next week for another edition of Tripp's Take. For now, I'm Tripp Rogers. Thanks for listening. Make it a great one.